All right, everybody, welcome to Best of NWF's NXT After Show November 4th, 2015. Wrestling's been kind of weird lately. You have had what seems to be NXT on the rise and WWE on the decline, and I feel like that still continues here for NXT. Um, these 3 hour Raws have been so long and boring and just dragging on, and these NXT shows are quick, to the point. You have your feuds, you have your matches, you have little backstage segments. Everything is quick and concise. It's a pleasure to watch, and it's over before you know it, but in a good way, because it makes you look forward to next week to see the resolution where on Raw you have a Divas match that has 3 commercial breaks in it. Now, I will say this. Now that I just said that, I thought about, and I'm not sure if it's a timing thing to make sure it's an hour, and that's fine and all, but there's nothing I hate more than a break during the match. It just breaks up the flow. It really kills the momentum they're trying to build and the story they're trying to tell. Because if you ever watch it live or a pay-per-view where they don't have those commercial breaks, the matches are better because you're not interrupted by some Tide commercial, or on the network it's hyping another show, but I'm already on the network watching it, so I would probably be able to figure out that. And if I'm on the network, I probably know about WWE Shop, so I'm not really sure, unless it's a time thing, unless it's to cut parts out of matches so you can get it down to an hour. But nonetheless, our first match of the evening is Asuka. And she's been a real pleasure to watch. She just looks so natural in the ring. She has a presence. She has a totally different look than the other divas, and it's really nice to see her. I really hope that she actually gets a good shot at the top. I think she will in NXT for sure, but as her career progresses with WWE, I would love to see her on the main roster doing some feuds with some of the more talented women's wrestlers. She just has great presentation coming to the ring. Just everything about her is so polished, and that goes to show you, when you've traveled the world or wrestled somewhere else, you pick up so much knowledge. And the Performance Center is great and all, but there's nothing like being on the road and learning and being in different companies, and you just learn so much, and you bring that all to the table, and you can really tell the difference when some of these people come to NXT, like Kevin Owens, a Finn Balor. They look like superstars from the moment they walk in, whereas a Baron Corbin, let's say, they're trying to build him, and he's gotten a lot better, but he's nowhere near where they were when they first debuted on NXT, and it really shows. So, and it's great because, Asuka in this match, she goes up against Cameron. Now, Cameron's been around WWE for a while, but she really hasn't done anything of merit, and, it comes down to, there's limited screen time for the women. They might get one match. On NXT, they might get 2, but just in WWE in general, let's say they just get 1 match a show. Now, I'm not saying Cameron doesn't really want it or doesn't work hard, but there's other women's wrestlers that have born to do this, have done it all their lives, that are dedicating everything to being a WWE superstar, and I just hate when they take up the TV time from someone else. It was pretty much a glorified squash match for Asuka, but I just want to say, for the women, they don't have time to waste on squash matches because they only have 1, maybe 2 matches. So obviously Asuka picks up the win there. Now you have Dawson and Wilder in the backstage segment. Pretty much they interrupt Carmella, and they're looking pretty good. They're a great unit. They're a great tag team. They're hard hitting. And this is great too. I noticed for NXT, I mean, tag team wrestling is where it's at. It's sad to see what's happened to the Ascension. I don't know why they didn't translate well, or I don't know why Vince McMahon didn't just keep doing what made them in NXT. Then you have the Lucha Dragons, which they did win a match on Raw, but they really haven't done anything. And then on this NXT show, we have Dawson and Wilder, and they're, building up a feud with Enzo and Cass, which they injured and they're going to be out a while. But they're going into a title match against the Vaudevillains, so they really have two feuds going. The Vaudevillains being the champs, so that's very interesting. And right after that, we have a little NXT commercial, and when we come back, we have Jason Jordan and Chad Gable hyping up them being, a great tag team in NXT and challenging the Ascension to come back to NXT to wrestle. And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, you know, on the main roster, it's gotten a lot better for tag teams, but, it's a pretty simple formula. You have either a tag team or a singles wrestler. They have some sort of gripe against another. Maybe they're trying to prove something. They have a match. It's settled. I mean, it's not very complicated, and this goes to show you it's simple, it's better. You don't need all that extra complicated mess. I mean, it's nice, it's simple. They have a feud. Jordan and Gable are trying to be the best tag team, so they're calling out the best tag team in NXT history. I mean, it all makes sense, and they follow up on these things. So after that, we have Bull Dempsey versus Angelo Dawkins with Sarah Fulton at ringside, and I love the bullfit thing. I think that's funny. I don't see where that goes. And I've said before, Bull Dempsey, he came in as kind of a monster, and it fit him well, but he kind of got lost in the shuffle as Rhino came back, as Baron Corbin kind of went heel. Samoa Joe came like these big bruisers. He kind of got lost in the shuffle. He switched to this bullfit thing, which the crowd loves, which is awesome. They changed his music, which I don't really like. And he hasn't really had a feud since then. I was hoping he'd feud with Tyler Breeze. I feel like that's pretty, well together there. You have Bull Dempsey. He's not overweight. He's just a big guy against Prince Pretty. I mean, I thought that feud was going to be magic. They didn't capitalize on that. So as much as I love Bull, I mean, if he just has meaningless matches, I don't see where that's going. I feel like that's going to die. And, he's going against Angelo Dawkins, which is the jobber, and Sawyer Fulton, which is another jobber, and they're out there together. And I think they were tag teaming before. I can't really even remember because they're so not memorable. Obviously Bull picks up the win, but my question is, where does he kind of go from here? Is someone going to call him out? I don't know. So he's kind of just floating around, but he still does pick up a victory. So after that, we have the return of everyone's favorite diva, Eva Marie. She comes down to the ring, and before it was pretty loud boos, but this time I kind of noticed it was almost kind of quiet. I think it's kind of depressing when she goes out there, and this is another one where you see, yeah, she wants to be a wrestler now, but some of the other women, you have the ones that have wanted to do it their whole life, like a Sasha Banks, like a Becky Lynch, a Bayley, where they've wanted to do it their whole lives and they excel. And then you also have a Charlotte, which necessarily didn't want to be a wrestler, but once she decided to be one, she wanted to be the best, and it shows. So as much as I want to give Eva Marie the benefit of the doubt, I mean, I don't think she's ready for these TV matches yet. I think she needs to pay her dues a lot more before she can get in there. I'm happy they kind of kicked her down a notch. They realized she was going to be a heel, and they're capitalizing on that. But this match is funny because she comes down to the ring, and there's another female wrestler, already there. She had the jobber's entrance. But I don't think anyone ever said her name. So I think I heard the crowd chanting Carly. I don't remember seeing her before, but I thought it was funny. Even the announcers didn't say it, so I don't know if they didn't have it on their notes or what the deal was, but I don't recall anyone saying her name. So obviously Eva Marie picks up the victory there. Nothing special for that match, but Eva Marie is like the Roman Reigns of the women's division. When the crowd smells that she's getting a push, the crowd's not into it, so. After that, we have a backstage segment with Emma. It looks like she's going to be the next one to go up against Asuka. Dana Brooke's there as well. And I'm really happy for Emma because, Emma's great in the ring. She has a great a different personality than any of the other women's wrestlers. So I'm happy to see that she's kind of getting the spotlight. I feel like they should have started off with this instead of Dana Brooke. Maybe started the feud with Asuka, had Dana Brooke turn on Emma, and done something like that. I think it would have been a little bit better. Because Dana Brooke, I mean, she's more in the vein of Charlotte, where she came in, maybe she didn't want to be a wrestler, but now that she wants to be a wrestler, it really shows when she comes to the ring, the confidence that she has. So, but I don't know where the story with Emma's going and Asuka, because Emma's getting the shot now. So we'll see how that goes. I have a feeling Dana Brooke's got to be turning on Emma sometime soon. So, and then we can have an Emma Dana Brooke feud, and I think that would be pretty good for them. All right, so after that, we have our main event of the evening. We have Apollo Crews versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. You know, Apollo Crews comes out with a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and, you know, I know he's been around before NXT, but he's only been NXT a short period of time, and I don't think anyone should be getting title shots that fast. I think Kevin Owens was the perfect storm of how they played up that story. Was pretty awesome. So, but as far as Apollo Crews goes, I don't know. You know, as far as that goes, like I didn't feel like he was gonna win. You know, you have Finn Balor. He's pretty much the face of NXT right now. He looks like he has much more dark and brooding kind of persona now. He's wearing all black. You know, I do want to say this about his entrance. I love his entrance when he comes out as the Demon. It's awesome, and they do that pre-music. For the Demon entrance, it's awesome. But when he just comes out on regular, you know, NXT, I think they should cut that out because it makes his entrance so incredibly long. And we're waiting and waiting and waiting, but we're not seeing the Demon, so why even have that before music? I feel like he should just start his music. So, you know, they have a great match. Obviously, Apollo Crews and Finn Balor are very agile and can do a lot of stuff in the ring. They have a lot of backs and forths, you know, and it was nice because Finn Balor really had an aggressive side in this. He was chopping and kicking him like, you know, it was a main event heel he was going against, but... So this match is kind of boiling down. It's, you know, hard hitting the whole way, and then Baron Corbin comes out of nowhere, attacks. Obviously, the match ends, and I'm thinking in my head at that point, are we gonna have a three-way? Which is interesting because you could have Baron Corbin not pin Finn Balor, and as much as I don't feel like Baron Corbin should be the face of NXT but I think he could have a good point to be the heel champion, even though he's not as polished as some of the other veterans in the ring. But I think he'd be a great heel champion. And this could have been Roman Reigns, to be honest. I mean, if they would have turned Roman Reigns heel and he was the heel champion and did all that, I mean, he'd be going pretty strong right now, and I think that'd be incredible. So I was like, okay, Baron Corbin, awesome. I'm thinking in my head, it's got to be a three-way in England, and this is going to be awesome. But then after that, you have Samoa Joe come out and make the save. So I was like, okay, four-way. And I was like, even better because all four of those guys are going to have a great match together. So I was like, all right, I'm sold on that. Fatal four-way in London for the title, awesome. Then Samoa Joe attacks Finn Balor and, you know, turns heel. But now this really complicates it for me because I'm thinking, is it going to be a four-way now, or are they going to kind of have Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews have a feud, which would be nice, and Samoa Joe kind of leapfrogs into the title picture, which I think would be good because him as a heel champion, you know, his work speaks for himself. He's of a 15-year veteran. So this is one of those things where nobody, you don't go into this match or this show knowing what's going to happen. You know, on Raw we have the Roman Reigns show, and we know Roman Reigns is going to win. Like, why even have these matches? Why we know he's going to be number one contender? Like, and then you have NXT where I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm much more excited to watch. You know, I'm watching Apollo Crews, Finn Balor. I'm like, Apollo Crews, maybe he could take this match. Then you have Finn Balor, of course he could win, you know. Then you have Baron Corbin. I'm thinking, okay, three-way in London. Awesome. I'm excited about that. I didn't see that coming. Then you have Samoa Joe come out. I'm like, all right, four-way. Didn't see that coming. Samoa Joe turns heel. Even better. Like, there was so much going on, but in a good way, and it wasn't a mess. And now, looking forward to next week, there's some excitement there. I want to know what's going to happen, and it wasn't like I knew Finn Balor was just going to win, and why even watch the match? Okay, it'll be a good match, but what's the point if I know he's going to win? I mean, I think they need to translate that a lot more to the main roster, because anything goes on NXT, and then on Raw, I know who's going to win almost every match. It's ridiculous. So, but for NXT, I give it definitely a thumbs up. I think this was a great show, nice balance. A lot went on, a lot of little things happened, setting up, going forward, and it was all in 1 hour, which makes it even better. So for Best of NWF, this is our NXT After Show, and we are out.